Spirits of the dead. Spirits of the living. Kindred, welcome. Welcome so much. Welcome to the people here at the live vigil. Welcome to the Zoom vigilers who are coming to us through the blessing of Natalie's camera. Welcome everybody to the 220 something big consecutive monthly vigil. We've been coming to the gates for almost 19 years. The reason we come to the gates is what is on the other side of the portal. There are still 15,000 mortal remains that are lying at peace at Crossbones. We're not entirely sure if the Winchester geese lie here too, but the memory of those women lie with them, with the goose and her outcast dead. The Winchester geese were the women of the medieval liberty of Winchester, who were licensed by the church to ply their prostitute trade. But when they died, they weren't allowed a Christian burial. And local history says that they were put into an unconsecrated burial ground. And even though for the last 150 or so years, and Crossbones was in use as a burial ground up until 1853, when it was forcibly closed, being overcharged with dead, there is no record of this graveyard, this burial ground, ever being consecrated. It was used for the last 150 years by the local parish church, St Saviour and St Mary Overy, which of course, as you will know, is now Southwark Cathedral. Please feast your eyes on the vision of Southwark Cathedral that you can see through the gates, because when the buildings go up on the other side, this is just on the side, when the buildings go up on the other side of the development, that picture will no longer be there. We will have to use what we often use when we walk in faith. Just because it's not there, just because we can't see it, doesn't mean it's not there. So the goose and her outcast dead are once a month on the inn, because we put ourselves on vigil night on the outside. We make ourselves outcasts so that we can come into relationship with what we honour here. We honour the outcast, both dead and alive. And like I say, for almost 19 years, we have been standing at these gates, holding a vigil to honour the outcast, to refresh and renew the shrine, and to reclaim the goose's secret history. When we first came here, I say we, when the Friends of Crossbones first came here, following John Constable Crowe, who channeled the goose's secret history for us to hear and to understand and adore, what was beyond the gates was not a garden, was not a garden of remembrance as it is now. It was a disused, desolate site that was disparaged, despised, and only wanted for the owners, supposed owners of the site, to build a 10-storey office block on. And when the Friends of Crossbones first started vigiling here at the gates, those supposed owners denied the fact, even though they knew it was there, they denied the fact that there was a graveyard there. And they called the people who stood here nutters. Thank you, Transport for London. We take that title on and we wear it with pride. Now, my name's Jennifer. You know I'm the Madam of Ceremonies here. I'm much too old to be a goose, but I'm never too old to be a madam. So I am temporarily the inviter here. Mark, who's usually at university, has managed to escape, and he is sharing the Vigil introductions with me tonight. He's the master of ceremonies. But when we come here, even though here's Jennifer, here's Mark, and here's all you, we don't come as a bunch of individual people who, for whatever reason, and I thank you all for coming because I feel really stupid standing here talking to myself. We gather. Sorry, I'm looking at the car that's turning itself around. There is a blue samurai up there. We gather together and we shift our consciousness and we become not disparate people, but one single unified consciousness. And we hold ourselves in an act of mutual healing. John Constable isn't here with us anymore because he's retired down to Glastonbury. But the spirit of John Crow is here. And the spirit of John Crow and we come together, body and spirit, in the Goose's dance of delight. Welcome, everybody. The Vigil form is the same as it's always been. 4 or 5 very simple rituals. The first is we share a minute's silence with the Open Pathways candle. Then we perform the act of binding and loosing where we hang the ribbons on the gate. Traditionally, we open after that to we call it the sacred offerings, where people can come forward and can speak for whatever is in their hearts they want to say, as long as it's something to do with Crossbones, a song, a poem, how they feel. But because it's the December Vigil, and what we do, led by George of, where are you now from? Peckham?
Peckham.
George of Peckham.
Peckham. Hello.
We ask people to not offer their offerings this month, but to hold anything they want to say, maybe till next year. If you're desperate to say something, please say so, because we will find room for you. Everything we do is never hard and fast. This is why we're dancing. I'm not a very good dancer, but I can sway a bit. So if you really want to speak, please come forward to either me or Mark, and we'll find a space for you. In the years that we've been standing here, hanging our ribbons on the gates and honouring the outcast, we have lost many, many of our dear friends and family. And they too are here at the gates and here with us in spirit in shining emptiness. But even though we know when we are in that one place, we are all together forever in shining emptiness. When a light goes out of our world and lights up in the next world, we miss them. Our sons, our husbands, our friends, our lovers. And just a few days ago, we lost one of our dearest friends of Crossbones, a man called Jim. What's his name?
Gilbert.
Jim Gilbert, James Gilbert. He was an old friend of Crossbones, and he will be remembered tonight from several people who will mention him. We've got a special ribbon for Jim. Some of you will remember him when we had a very special goose night once, several years ago. We had a jazz band, and the saxophonist was Jim. The last time I remember speaking to him was at John Constable and Katie Cows's wedding. And I spoke to him on the grounds of Crossbones graveyard. He was ill even then, but he had baked the most magnificent cakes. And he was just the delightful soul he always was. We honour him along with all the others. This is the Open Pathways candle. And we use this candle as a physical manifestation of the light that we all have inside us. However we see that light individually for ourselves. You might appreciate it as the light of consciousness. You might appreciate it as passion of creativity. However you envisage your light, when we hold the Open Pathways candle, hold the silence just for 1 minute, wishing that all the beings in all the worlds may be truly in liberty. Hold that light within you and let the rest of you go. Now, I'm delighted to see a young person here, because whenever we have a young person here, that young person is symbolic of all the innocence in the world. Goose says, I traded hard at every yard to keep the child at liberty. Child, would you like to hold our liberty candle for 1 minute? You can stay with your mum. Oh, you can come here and hold it up nice and high for everybody to see. And I will ding the bell once for the start, once for the finish. Silence. Open pathway. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a big round of applause? Woo!
Thank you for holding the light, Saskia. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Such a wonderful turnout, and everyone on Zoom. The next part of the vigil we call the binding and the loosing. And we tie ribbons to the gate and intone an echo prayer, echo poem, at whatever rhythm we want. But slightly differently today, before we do that, we have a special ribbon for our friend James Gilbert, Jim, who died on the solstice, who was a Christmas baby. I remember he told me with a twinkle in his eye, he was born on the 28th of December, and he told me that Herod spared him. So he had this beautiful way in which he in which he made me question everything I thought I knew about early Christianity. And Danny is going to read from the Outcast Gospel. Some of you may have heard of the Gospel of Thomas, but Jim loved the Gospel of Thomas, and it's not read in church anymore. It did used to be 2,000 years ago or so, but Jim loved that Gospel. So in honor of Jim, we're gonna read from the Gospel of Thomas. If anyone wants, are there copies? Yeah. We're gonna, I'll let Danny lead from now, but yeah, this is the Outcast Gospel of Thomas. So for Jim.
It was once read in church because Jim was really into this book. In fact, he introduced me to the Gospel of Thomas, which is guided me. And one of the verses I'm going to read, verse 6, has got an absolute gem of guidance in it. It's the last verse I'll read. But before that, Jim spent a period of his life when he decided he would neither buy nor sell anything. And he decided that the only money he would spend was to photocopy the Gospel of Thomas and then give it to people. And he used to do this. He used to do this all over the place, and he used to stand on street corners. He didn't hassle people like the more boring Christians do, but he would stand there, and if someone came and talked to him, he would say, "I've got something for you," and give them a Gospel of Thomas. He told me, I can tell you a couple of stories about this. One story, he was standing on a corner and he saw a gunman running out of a building, and he went on, and then the gunman came back again to basically shit him up and say, did you see anything? And he said, "I've got something for you," and he gave him the Gospel of Thomas. And he put one of the copies of the Gospel of Thomas in a church in, I think it was in Brixton, and left it there. And then many years later, when he'd stopped not buying and selling and gone back to being a saxophone player, he played a gig in the basement of this church, which had become a jazz club. And he saw, I believe it was a poster with Coptic letters on the wall. He got talking to the manager about this. And it turns out the manager was into Gnosticism as well as Jim. And the reason he was into it was because he'd found a copy of the Gospel of Thomas in the church. And he'd also, the same week, found himself a box of Roman coins, which he'd then sold and bought the basement of the church and turned it into a jazz club. Jim's full of magic. I'm sure he's debating theology with the angels in heaven as we speak. These are the secret sayings which the living Jesus spoke and which Didymus Judas Thomas wrote down. And he said, "Whoever finds the interpretation of these sayings will not experience death." Jesus said, "Let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will rule over the all." Jesus said, "If those who lead you say to you, 'See, the kingdom is in the sky,' then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, 'It is in the sea,' then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will become known, and you will realize that it is you who are the sons of the living Father. But if you do not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty." Jesus said, "The man old in days will not hesitate to ask a small child 7 days old about the place of life, and he will live. For many who are first will become last, and they will become one and the same." Jesus said, "Recognize what is in your sight, and that which is hidden from you will become plain to you. For there is nothing hidden which will not become manifest." I've got one more verse, but I want to make a comment, is that I've read this book quite a few times since he introduced it to me, and quite a lot of it doesn't make sense to me. And the bits which do make sense are absolute gems that have come to make more and more sense, because nothing hidden will not become manifest. His disciples questioned him and said to him, "Do you want us to fast? How shall we pray? Shall we give alms? What diet shall we observe?" Jesus said, "Do not tell lies, and do not do what you hate, for all things are plain in the sight of heaven. For nothing hidden will not become manifest, and nothing covered will remain without being uncovered." think Mark is going to read a few more verses. I'm going to take this to the pub, and in fact, I've actually got 5 copies of it because Jim liked distributing copies of it. So if you'd like a copy of it, come and talk to me, and I'll give it to you. We're going to go to the pub after this, and Mark and I are going to read through the rest of it, which is about half an hour. So if you want to come and join us for some or all of that, you don't need to stand on ceremony. Jim had no interest at all in ceremony. So please feel free to come and join us and listen to the rest of this. Thank you.
So just before the binding and the loosing, I also, like Danny, decided to read Jim's favourite gospel today, and I found some verses that I thought he would like. After the binding and loosing, we'll have the offerings. And again, slightly unorthodoxly for Crossbones, if anyone has something about Jim that they would like to share, so I'll share I Am the Wind, before the carols, feel free. But I'm going to read the Gospel of Thomas now, then we'll do the binding and loosing, and then we'll have Jim offerings and then carols. Okay, we clear? Awesome. Chapter 29. If the flesh, Jesus said, came into being because of the Spirit, it is wonder. But if the Spirit came into being because of the body, it is a wonder of wonders. Indeed, I am amazed at how this great wealth has made its home in this poverty. Chapter 31. No prophet is accepted in his own village. No physician heals those who know him. Chapter 32. A city being built on a high mountain and fortified cannot fall, nor can it be hidden. Chapter 42. Jesus said, "Become passers by." Chapter 48. If two make peace with each other in this one house, they will say to the mountain, "Move away," and it will move away. Chapter 64. Not chapter 64, forgive me. Chapter 66. Show me the stone which the builders have rejected. That one is the cornerstone. Thank you. So everyone has their ribbons. We're now going to proceed with a standard Crossbones binding and loosing. So here we commit and we let go to these words. Say at whatever rhythm you see fit. Here lay your hearts. Here lay your flowers. Book of hours.
Your book of hours.
Fingers.
Your thumbs.
Fingers, thumbs. Your miss, your mums.
Here hang your hopes.
Here hang your hopes.
Your
Your
dreams.
dreams.
Your might have been.
Been.
Might have been.
Your
Your
locks.
mops. Your keys. Your mysteries. Here lay your hearts, your flowers, your book of hours, your fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries. Here lay your hearts, your flowers, your book of hours, your fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your looks, your keys, your mysteries. Here hang your hearts, your flowers,
Here lay your hearts.
book of hours,
Your flowers. Your
your
book of hours.
fingers, your thumbs, your miss
Fingers,
you
your
mums.
thumbs. You'll miss you, mum.
Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries. Here lay your hearts, your flowers, your book of hours, your fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries.
Here lay your hearts.
Here lay your hearts,
Flowers. Your book
your
of hours.
flowers, your book of hours,
Fingers, your thumbs.
fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have beens, your locks, your keys, your mysteries.
Here lay your hearts.
Here lay your
Flowers, your book of hours.
flowers, your book of hours,
Fingers, your
your fingers, your thumbs, your miss you mums. Here hang your hopes, your dreams, your might have
your locks,
beens,
your keys,
your locks, your keys,
your
your mysteries.
Thank you, everyone. Can I ask? I know this isn't normal for Christmas, and thank you for bearing with, George. Does anyone want to say anything for James Gilbert today, here present in body at the Vigil? You. Sure. Yeah. So, in the spirit of Christmas, while I say this poem, which James really, really liked from the Southwark Mysteries, which is in some ways our text. The Southwark Mysteries was a book received by the Goose, the spirit of this place, to John Crow as John Constable. I'm going to say a poem that James really liked, and we're going to share around some mince pies and mulled wine. There is non-alcoholic mulled wine, you told me, Jen? In the form of apple juice, if anyone wants. But it is mulled apple juice. And yeah, mince pies as well.
Tell them to come and get it,
so
I don't have to handle it and they don't have to get
So yeah, the bar's over there basically to the left if anyone wants some. So that it's not table service basically. And after that, thanks Danny. After that, George is going to sit and sing some carols with us. So thank you for that, George. But before that, I will say what I'm told was James's favorite poem. We only really discussed the theology of Paul and the Gnostic Gospels, James and me. And I never even asked him what his favorite poem in the Mysteries was. So I'm very grateful to Danny for telling me that this is one of his favorites in the book of this place. I am the wind. I rake the wild grasses. I am the reaper, the sower, the seed. I am the day of the bonny lads and lasses. I am the night where their secret paths lead. I am the sense field. I flower in your fingers. I am the musk in the dusk of the day. I am the ghost of the smile that lingers when the face where it flickered has faded away. I am the song of the blackbird in Eden. I am the waft in the butterfly wing. And I am hearing the static and stutter that shutter how much I and I can take in. I am the white noise of a nervous system. I am the silence in which it reroutes. I am the gods and the men who resist them, the madness in the eyes of the men in suits. I am in George. I must conquer my dragon. I am in Martha. I nurse the red gash. I am Hag Keridwen with her red raw rag on. I am Carly, razor in the flash and slash. I am the light in the shadow revealing. I am the grace that transfigures the sin. I am the wound which prefigures the healing. I am the light in the traveler's inn. I'll be your icon, your muse, your conceit. I'll be whatever you would have me be. I'll be Mary Magdalene, washing your feet, if it helps you see through what divides you from me. For Jim. Merry Christmas, everyone. George, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I've just got some carol sheets here, which I'm going to give out.
Do you want me to help you give them
That
out?
would be fantastic. Now, the whole thing about singing is it's only fun when you want to do it. So remember, it's a carol sheet. So yeah, you can join in as much, as bigly or as littlely as you like. I'm going to get myself ready. Right, here we go. Well, I'll be needing a little bit of
Well done, Jen.
Vanessa, will you help me with a little bit of light?
Yeah. Have you got something, or shall I use my phone?
Yeah,
Does
you use
anybody
your
else
phone.
want
That'd be great.
non-alcoholic mulled apple juice?
Right,
Has
whilst you
anybody not had any alcoholic anything at all yet so far? Sharon, have you had some?
I'm all right, thanks, Jen.
Right, yeah.
Is that looking at?
Oh, well, that's ideal. That's just that's all work. So. Can't go anywhere without that. Tune up as well. You know. Tune up is a good idea.
Does anybody want a small drop of second?
Yes.
Who said yes?
Anyone doesn't have a tarot sheet who wants one? Okay.
So we're nearly ready. I'm just tuning up.
Cable to the light holder.
Seconds.
Well, I'm just trying to. I've got slight fingers, but I'm nearly there. Nearly there. Here we go. Okay, everybody. It's the holly and the ivy. The holly and the ivy, when they are both full grown, of all the trees that are in the wood, the holly bears a crown. For the rising of the sun and the running of the deer, the playing of the merry-go-round, sweet singing in the choir. The holly bears a blossom as white as any flower, and Mary born sweet Jesus Christ to be our dear Saviour. On the rising of the sun and the running of the deer, the playing of the merry organ, sweet singing in the choir. The holly bears a berry as red as any blood, and Mary bore sweet Jesus Christ to do for sinners good. The holly bears a prickle as sharp as any thorn, and Mary bore sweet Jesus Christ on Christmas Day in the morn. On the running of the sun and the running of the deer, the playing of the merry organ, sweet singing in the choir. The holly bears a bark as bitter as the gall, and Mary bore sweet Jesus Christ for to redeem us all. And the rising of the sun and the running of the deer, the playing of the merry organ, sweet singing in the choir. The holly and the ivy, when they are both full grown, all the trees that are in the wood, the holly bears a crown. Well done, everybody. Excellent. Yeah, just put that there. No, that's all right. Well, it's a doctrine of fallibility here. We're going to do just fine. You're going to hold these up for me like this, honey, so yeah, so that I can see them, because I didn't really think ahead.
Okay.
But that's all right. So in the bleak midwinter, everybody.
Oh, lovely.
Okay, that should be the next one on your sheet. In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind did blow. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow, snow, snow. in the bleak midwinter, long ago. Angels and archangels, men have traveled there, cherubim and seraphim throng the air, but only his mother in her maiden bliss worship the beloved with a kiss. What can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would give a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. But what can I give him? Give him my heart. Wonderful, everybody. Doing very, very well. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to hold this, and then when I get to the end, I want you to...
I've only got one hand.
Well, that's all right.
I'll do my best.
You'll do your best, and that's all we can ask. Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Oh, God, light of light, glory beholds not the virgin's wombs. Verily, God begotten, not created. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Sing choirs of angels, sing in exaltation. Oh, sing, holy citizens of heaven above. Glory to God, oh, glory in the highest. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Yea, Lord, we greet thee. Carry on. For this happy morning, for Jesus, to thee be all glory give. Word of the Father, now in flesh appearing. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Lord. Bravo, everybody. Time for silent night, everybody. There we are.
This has got the notes on it as well.
Thanks. You hold that up so I can vaguely hear it. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round your virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace. Let's do that one more time. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace. Marvelous, everybody. We have little town of Bethlehem now. So we're on the same page. Just hold that. Thank you so much. Oh, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. Above thy deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by. Yet in the dark streets shineth the everlasting light. Hopes and fears of all the years are met in peace unite. For Christ is born of Mary and gathered all above. Our mortals sleep, the angels sleep, their watch of wondering love. For morning stars forever proclaim the holy birth, and praises sing to honor King and priest to on earth. Excellent, everybody. And now to our final carol, the one with the maximum chance of us dropping the paper in. So wish us all luck in advance. And if anybody wants to spring to our assistance in case of a catastrophic droppage, you're very welcome. Okay, at each time, just drop it and go to the next page. So we'll do these first ones here. On the first day of Christmas, my true love sings to me, a partridge in a pear tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love came to me, 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree. On the third day of Christmas, my true love came to me, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 4th day of Christmas, my true love came to me, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love came to me, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 7th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 gold rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
And this concludes the carol section of the ritual.
Okay, thank you so much, George.
Yes, thank you,
Very-
George. Everybody, sorry for cutting.
Special place deserves enthusiastic carols sung with love by everybody. So thank you, Goose, and thank all of you for making the effort, coming out here to honouring people who don't necessarily get enough honour. This is a place for the outcast dead, and they might not get their honour in life, but they certainly get their honour now. So let's just remember that.
Thank you, George.
Song sheets back to Jen at the end.
At the end, yeah. So, couple of little announcements. So we're gonna do the final blessing now, and after that, there are more mince pies. We can mill around for a bit. We're also going to the pub, and if you have any contributions to the small costs accrued to running these ceremonies, then the pirate hat is what that's for, basically. Also, if you notice, the shard is like kind of decorated like a Christmas tree. So if you really want to feel extra Christmassy, you can look at the faceless corporate horror of the shard.
Slightly less horrific.
Slightly less horrific than usual. So, cool. So without further ado, let's do the final blessing, and be aware that there are mince pies and potentially pub after as well if people want to continue socializing and being merry after such wonderful carols. Thank you again, George. Okay, so there are quite a few of us. It might not be the case that everyone can hold the gate, but at least holding someone who's holding the gate, or holding someone who's holding the gate. So long as we're all somehow through touch attached to the gates for this final blessing, let's all move forward. And Jen is returning to her old role of Gin Jen, which is wonderful, and she's going to seal us in. She's going to seal us into the ceremony space with the gin, which was kind of a sacrament for sex workers way back when. So, great. When everyone's holding the gates, just repeat after me. At the top of your lungs, or bottom, whichever way you want to look at it, as loud as you can. Life!
Life!
Health!
Health!
Happiness!
Happiness!
Open
Open pathways!
Life!
Life.
Health!
Health!
Happiness!
Happiness.
Open pathways!
Open pathways!
Health in the body!
Health in the body!
Spirit!
Peace in the
Peace in the
spirit.
spirit!
Love in
Love
the
in the
heart.
heart!
Body!
Health
Health
in
in
the
the
body.
body!
Spirit!
Peace in the
Peace in the
spirit.
spirit!
Love
Love
in
in
the
the
heart.
heart!
It is
It is
this
this that we
we wish
wish
for ourselves,
ourselves,
for our
for our
friends,
friends and family,
for all our brothers
the
the
and
goose
goose
and
and
the
the
crow,
crow,
goose and the crow,
for all our brothers and
all
sisters,
sisters,
and for all humanity.
and for all humanity.
This that we wish
May it be so.
for ourselves,
ourselves,
for
For
our
our
friends
friends
and
and
family,
family,
for our brothers and sisters,
sisters,
for
the
the
goose
goose
and the
and the
crow,
crow,
and for all humanity.
and for all humanity. May it be so.
May it be so.
Goose! May you never be hungry!
goose
Goose,
may
May you
never
never
be
be
hungry.
hungry.
Never be thirsty!
Goose
May
may
you
never
never be thirsty.
May your spirit fly free!
Goose
Goose,
may
may
your
your
spirit
spirit
fly
fly
free.
free.
Does. And so
And so she does.
And so she does.
Everyone, Merry Christmas.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you so much for staying on, guys.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Jen,
Danny.
thank you to you as well. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, darlings. If Rod wants to speak to me, he can creep off and speak now, just quickly through Natalie's phone.
Oh yes, creep
Do you
off
want to
and
tell me
speak.
something?
Do you want to talk to Jen, Rod?
Yeah, look, this is, I'm sorry, I'm having major computer problems.
Oh,
Sky News Australia is trying to steal the crown of this woman. Her name is Leela Barrett. She was Australia's first female harbour master, World War II, Flinders Island. I'm fucked. I don't want idiots to steal her crown. So I just wanted to show people what a decent woman looks like. She
Oh,
operates
Rod.
the most difficult waterway in Australia, Flinders Island. That's
Oh,
all I want
Rod.
to say. And if someone would mind toasting the Queen, gin and tonic,
Yes,
I've requested an intervention against the Australian federal government, but she's died,
here we go.
unfortunately. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I don't drink.
Viva
you
the
see.
Queen.
Viva.
Viva.
Auntie Wally, as an elderly woman, much like this one, the New South Wales state government tried to kick her out of her home. She wrote to the Queen. The Queen said no. She stays there for the rest of her life, and she did until she died. So I don't care what other people think about the Queen. For me, she was a good woman. Thank you.
Blessings. Thank you, Rod. I'm sorry I couldn't do that before we started.
No,
but we're
that's
right
all
on
right.
7 o'clock, love.
Yeah, so that's Leela Barrett. The Examiner newspaper in Launceston has all the story. So
Send
hopefully
it
they'll
to
print
me.
it.
We might be able to put it into the Vigil next month.
Oh, yeah,
If you
thanks.
can, if you're well enough.
Yeah, I may not be well enough by then.
Okay,
Thanks,
we'll see what
everybody.
happens, because you might even
Merry
be able
Christmas.
to bring her with you. Merry Christmas, darling.
Merry Christmas,
with
Yeah,
Rod.
her.
thank you. Bye.
Bye, love. Bye. Jackie, night night, darling.
Happy Christmas.
Well done. Happy
Jennifer.
Christmas.
Thank you, Natalie. Oh, John's talking to you, Jennifer.
Oh, John's
Jen.
talking to me.
Yes,
Hey,
John
well
said.
done. Really
Where's
brilliant.
John?
John's in the
Hello,
box.
darlings.
Hello, hi, babe. Really
Oh,
lovely.
Merry
Jen.
Christmas.
Yeah, well done. That was a beautiful vigil. Beautiful.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
so
you
glad
for
you
it.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you to you, to Mark, to Dan,
Oh.
to everyone. But
All love always. Always,
love.
always. Blessed be.
bless you.
Blessed
Happy
be.
Christmas.
Hey,
Happy
Natalie.
Christmas.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, Natalie. Happy Christmas.
Bye bye, darling. Bye bye. Bye bye, my loves.
Bye bye, Jen.
Bye.
Natalie.
Oh, they've
Thank you,
gone.
Jackie.
Thank
for
you.
getting us. Nicholas, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you both. Lovely to see you all. Happy Christmas.
Lovely. Happy
Yeah,
Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Happy
Oh.
Christmas Facebook as well. There's quite a lot of people watching on Facebook who aren't on here.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
hello, Facebook.
Hello,
Thank you for being
Facebookers.
here. Happy Christmas, everyone. So I'm going to stop the live stream on Facebook. So bye-bye, Facebook. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. If I can. I don't know how. There we go.
That's recorded.
And I'll stop the recording as well.
Yes.
Let me stop that.